Thank you, Chairman. This morning I sent a letter to Secretary Yellen concerning the need to combat Chinese Communist Party and its affiliated enterprises from being able to access capital and profit from American retail investors. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to request that my letter be included in the hearing.
Without objection.
Mr. Adeyemo, as the Chairman mentioned earlier in the hearing, last November, President Trump signed Executive Order 13959, which builds upon a longstanding requirement established in Section 1237 of the National Defense Authorization Act of 1999 and involves the Treasury's Department Office of Foreign Asset Control list. This EO will help to protect U.S. investors from unintentionally providing capital that ultimately goes towards enhancing the capabilities of the Chinese Communist Party and its armed forces and intelligence services, both of which routinely target American citizens and businesses through cyber operations and directly threaten the critical infrastructure, economy, and military of the United States and its allies and partners around the world. Mr. Adeyemo, what is the current status of Executive Order 13959, and do you believe it's an important step in protecting Americans from investing in Chinese companies that are involved in these kinds of activities?
Senator, thank you for the important question. If confirmed to be Deputy Secretary of the Treasury, I look forward to looking into the current status of that EO and its implementation. But stepping back and talking about the importance of this issue, I want to make clear to you that I think that it is critical that we use the tools, the Treasury's tools and our tools to hold China accountable for actions that they take that are not consistent with international law and that put our national security at risk. I think that part of this for us is going to be making sure that we take a critical look at how Chinese firms may be using our financial system to do just that. And I look forward to doing that if confirmed.
Well, thank you for that. They are utilizing our financial system. We have the broadest and deepest capital markets in the world, and frankly, they're dependent on our financial system to help fund their slaveholder state. If confirmed, would you work with me to see this executive orders codified into law, including any improvements that the administration working with me would like to make in order to further strengthen its effect?
Senator, I agree with you that our capital markets are a strength. It's one that we need to make sure that we use to advance the interests of the American people. I look forward to working with you on this issue and to looking at what legislation may make sense in terms of ensuring that we protect the American economy from those that seek to harm us.
I hope we can work together on codifying that executive order. In addition to the Communist Chinese military companies, another major concern is U.S. investment in Chinese companies that are linked to or affiliated with egregious human rights abuses, including the aiding and abetting of genocide against the Uyghur population in Xinjiang. Do you support Secretary Yellen and Secretary Blinken's description of the Uyghurs' treatment in Xinjiang as genocide? Yes or no, please.
Senator, I agree with Secretary Yellen that the human rights abuses conducted by the Chinese Communist Party.
She used the term genocide.
I agree with Secretary Yellen's statement
Okay.
when it came to her reference to the Uyghurs.
Okay, thank you. If confirmed, what other steps will you take to ensure U.S. investors aren't unwittingly funding Chinese companies responsible for things such as forced abortions, forced labor, concentration camps, and other horrific human rights abuses?
Senator, I think that it's critical that we step back and we think about what we can do as a country to hold those accountable who violate international law, but that we don't do it alone. And I think President Biden has made this clear that it is important that we lead an alliance of countries that share our values to hold those people accountable. And I look forward to, if confirmed in this role, to working on those sets of issues and doing that with you and members of this committee and also members of Congress.
I'll look forward to that as well. I'd close by noting that U.S. investment in Chinese companies, as well as Chinese investment in the United States, including in dollar-denominated bonds, is a web that's growing more tangled by the day. One of China's most glaring weaknesses is access to the kind of large-scale financing that only U.S. capital markets can adequately provide. As this is one of our country's greatest strengths, we must make sure that we take every measure necessary to protect it. I look forward to working with you, sir, and we'll have some additional questions on the topic for the record.